Now continuing to problem 19, let's look at what it says. Two planes fly in opposite directions. One is traveling 450 and the other one 550. So how long would it take before they are 4,000 miles apart? So we have two planes, okay? One is they are going opposite directions. That matters, okay? So one is going at 450 and then the other one is going at 550. 550, all right. And the question is, we need the whole distance to be 4,000, okay? The whole thing and it need to become 4,000. And so that's each one is per hour. So we'll let x be the hour that they are gonna fly. So x will be the hour. X is the hour. Number of hours that they will fly so that they become 4,000. So let's do that. So the first plane is traveling at 450 times x hours. That's how far the first plane traveled. Okay. The second plane is traveling at 550, and being that they're traveling in different directions, in opposite directions, that means the distance is going to be added up because they are getting farther and farther apart from each other. Okay, so the two distances will be added up, and then together that better be 4,000 miles, I believe. Yep. And so with that, we are going to do the addition. 4 plus 5, and that's 1,000. That will be 1,000x, 1,000 equals to 4,000. And then our x, then conveniently push the 1,000 down here to be dividing by 4. It will gives you 4 hours. Okay, if we divide by 1,000, that would be 4 hours, and that is the answer. Now let's say, yep, that is correct. So that's that. And next, let's look at problem 21. Somebody rides a bike at 20 miles an hour, and then she slows down to 12 miles an hour. Now, so she traveled a total of 70 miles for 4.5 hours. So for what distance did she travel at 20 miles an hour? All right. So first we need to pay attention to what the question is asking. They're asking how far did he pedal at 20 miles an hour? So knowing that, then let's consider the time. Okay. We don't know how long she's traveling at each speed. So we will call that x. So that is problem number 21. What are we talking about? Hours. So let's x be the hour that she traveled. And so she traveled at 20 miles, hour at 20, okay? Because that's what we care about, the 20 miles per hour and that she traveled. Therefore, how long did she do that? Well, so that she traveled x hours at 20, so let's add that up. So 20 times x is how far she traveled total at 20 miles an hour. Then when she slowed down to 12 miles an hour, and then her entire trip took 4.5 hours. So the amount of time she traveled at the lesser time will be 4.5 minus x is the hours she traveled at 12. Okay, 12 miles per hour. So her entire traveling would be 20x. That's the distance she traveled at 20 miles per hour. Oops. So let's write down the 20x plus the lesser amount of time, plus 4.5 minus x, minus x. That would be, that's the 12 miles per hour. Where's my 12 miles per hour? I need to write that down. This number will be multiplied by 12 because that is the miles per hour. Okay, and then together with these two, she traveled a total of 70 miles. All right. So there is, now this is what we have, and then we just need to solve this equation for x. So we have 20x here, and we'll multiply this out. So plus 4.5 times 12. That's the 48 plus 6. That's like 54 or something. 48 plus 6, that should be 54. Okay, minus 12x. You can also do this on the calculator to make sure that I didn't mess up. And that will be equal to 70. So we have 20 minus 12. That will become 8x on this side. We'll push the 54 to the other side, which becomes 70 minus 54. Okay, change the sign to negative when you push it to the other side of the equal sign. And that will be equal to 16. Okay, x will be 16 divided by 8. Push the 8 down below the division line, and that should give us 2. So what was x again? X is the number of hours she traveled at 20 miles an hour. And we need to know how far she traveled at that distance. So the total would be 20x. So 20 times 2 is our answer, which is she traveled 40 miles at that rate. And you are supposed to write down the unit. What problem is that? 21. Let me see. 2 hours. Yep, that is correct. So that is good, right? And then I will clean off the board. Now next, let's look at problem 23. Raul has $20,000 to invest. Okay, and he wants to earn 11% interest on his investment, and he will do it by investing part of money at 8% interest, which is more secure, and part at 12% interest, which is more risky. Now, Raul needs to invest in each option to make a total of 11% return. Okay, so how should he do that? Now, let's figure that out. We don't know how much he should invest at 8% or 12%, so let's do that. Let's say he invests X amount of money, okay? X amount of money on, say, what was the first number? 8%. And then, so the rest of the money, which is $20,000 minus X, lots of zeros, minus X, will be invested at the other rate, which is 12%. Okay, and then together, when we multiply these together and add up, it should be like 11%. So our goal is to become 11%. So then the total will be equal to $20,000 times 11%. Okay, so that will be, so in other words, this plus that should become this thing. And I should remind you that what is the percentage? Percent, which is written as like this, okay? That means, it actually means 1 out of 100. See, this is the 1, 0, 0, okay? So this is the same as 8 over 100 or 0.08. And similarly, this is equal to 0.12 because it's 12 over 100. And this is equal to 11 over 100 or 0.11. I will skip writing the 0 here. So let's do this, okay? So the first amount of money that we don't know how much is going to be multiplied by 0.08. That's the first investment. I mean the first interest times X. Okay, the second interest is going to be 12%, 0.12 times 20,000 minus X. That's the rest of the money will be invested at 12% rate. And so the total should become $20,000 at 11% times 0.11. All right, so that should do it. Well, to not confuse the points, we'll use the parentheses, okay? Because parentheses means multiply as well. This is 20,000 multiplied by 0.11. So now that we have an equation, we'll try to solve for X. Well, what was X again? X is the amount of money that Raul should invest at 8%. So let's crank this out, okay? So we have 0.08, okay? So I will write this out. You don't have to necessarily write everything out once you're familiar with this, but I will write it out in case anybody don't feel familiar. So plus, no to speak, plus, plus the 20,000 times 0.12, okay? Now let's multiply that out. That will become 24. Okay, that's 2 times 12. And then we knock out 2 zeros. 1, 2. See, 2 decimal points, knock out 2 zeros. So we have 2 zeros left. That's how you do the multiplication of decimal points. And then and don't mess up any zeros. Anyway, so and then this becomes plus times minus is then minus 0.12. Okay, I'm skipping the 0 here. X, that would be equal to, that's 2 times 0.11, that's 22. And again, we have 2 decimal points, they'll knock out 2 zeros. So we have 2 zeros left. So that is how that works. All right, so then we have, well, being that x is, this is 0.8 and this is 0.08 and 0.12, I'll put x's on this side because I like my x's positive, but you don't have to. You can keep it here and keep it negative. That's fine too. Actually, maybe we should do that, okay? Just for the people who like to keep x's on this side all the time. So let's do that. That will become, so 0.8x minus 0.08x minus 0.12x, that's minus 0.04x. So we'll keep x's on this side, and then we'll kick this thing to the other side. That will be 2200, and then subtracted by 2400. Okay, because the positive move to across the equal sign becomes negative. And then next, we're going to do division. So this becomes negative 200, okay? And we're going to push that 0.04 under here. So we'll push this thing down. So x becomes the negative, don't forget the negative sign, 0.04. And we're going to do this division. That will be equal to 200 divided by 4 will be 5. 20 divided by 200 divided by 4 is 50. Okay, and then when you divide by a decimal point, you have to add 2 more zeros. So that should be 5,000. So then the original question then is that x will be 5,000. That is, the person, Raul, will invest $5,000. See, already $5,000 at 8%, and then the rest of the money at 12%. So let's, what problem is this? 23, let me check. That's correct. You know, it's always delightful when I get the answer right. So that is how we do this. Okay. Okay. Problem 23. Next. So I will let you see this a moment in case anybody needs to look at it, and then I'm going to erase it. So next, let's look at problem 27. Where is it 27? Yeah, it is. So problem 27, we have some rentals, okay? Plan A charges $75 per week, where $75 base charge plus 10 cents per mile. Plan B charges $100 per week plus 5 cents per mile. So here's the question. If Tim has to travel 300 miles, which plan would be cheaper? Okay, now so let's consider the information again. So plan A, we have, what are we talking about? $70 per month, per week, and then the mileage is 10 cents, 0.1, right, per mile, okay? And then plan B, we have $100 per week, and then the but cheaper, 5 cents per mile. All right, so we have 2 plans, and so which plan is cheaper for traveling? Our goal is to travel 300 miles. Now we will calculate each plan to see how much it costs to travel 300 miles. Now, so one plan at a time. To travel, so plan A, to go 300 miles, it will cost us the $75 base price, right? Plus, let me see. Well, I don't know where the X fits in here, so, well, it doesn't matter. We'll just figure out the numbers for Tim, okay? So plan A is $75 and then 0.1 a cent per mile, so 300 miles, then we just times the the 10 cents, sorry, the 10 cents will multiply by 300 times 300. That's our total cost. Okay, and then we'll do that in a second. Plan B will be $100 and plus, but half that much mileage, again times 300. All right, now that we have gotten everything done, let's calculate this thing. What is it? Well, this is 75 plus 0.1 times 300, that's 30. So that would be equal to 105 if you have 75 plus 30. And then plan B, we have 100 plus 5 times 3 is 15 here, okay? And that is, yeah, and you knock out 2 zeros because you have 2 decimal points. So the 2 zeros are gone, so all we got is 15. So this will be $115. All right, so as a result, plan A seems to be the better option. Okay, now let's see. This is problem 27. Yep, that is what the book says. Plan A is better. I don't see any X in this requirement. We'll just, let's just ignore that, okay, and move on. Now, I should mention that if you have any trouble multiplying or adding in your head, you don't have to do that. Just use the calculator, okay? Either one is fine. So let's move on to problem 33. Now, problem 33, we have to find of a rectangle whose length is 15 and perimeter is 58 when we need to find the width, okay? So we have a rectangle here whose length is 15. Here's 15. The length of the rectangle is 15. The width, we'll call it W because we're looking for it. And then the entire thing all the way around is 58, which means now the perimeter of a rectangle is 2 widths, okay, plus 2 lengths. It has 2 widths, and then this is the length, and that's also the length. So what we're going to do is, in other words, when they add up, so we have 2 W's, okay, plus 2 15s, parentheses means multiply, all right? That is supposed to come up to be 58. Now, in that case, then we will do this variable. Okay, W is now our new X. We will solve for W. And so that 2 times 15 is 30. So we have 2W on this side of the equation. And then push the 30 to the other side. It becomes 58 minus 30. And that will be equals to 28, which means our W need to be 12. Did I say 28? Why did I write down 24? I think I prefer 24 to 28. Okay, it's my favorite number. So actually it isn't. I like it better than 28. But anyway, it's 28. All right, so then W has to be 14 and not 12. But that's okay. Let's see if that's correct. Problem 33. Yep, excuse me, it is correct. So that is always great. So now let me clean off the board. Next, let's do problem 35. We have 35, we need to find F, where P is 8 and Q is 13. And what's F again? It's in the previous problem, so we'll write that down. So F is, we need to find F where here's a relationship of F. 1 over P plus 1 over Q is going to be equal to 1 over F, okay? But we're given what P and Q are. So P is 8. So we'll put that P value in here. So 1 over 8 plus 1 over, what is this? 13. 1 over 13 is equal to 1 over F. And then so what we're going to do is we need to take F out of here, okay? So what are we going to do? We can do the common denominator trick that we've been doing the whole time, okay? What's the common denominator? The common denominator will be 8 times 13F. We'll just multiply everything together because this is a prime number, so you can't factor it anyway. So we'll make everything turn into 13 times 8F. We're not even going to figure out what that is, okay? So maybe later, not right now. So 13, so we'll turn the denominator into this thing, all of them. To do that, then we will have, I'll write it, well, doesn't matter how I write it, I guess. So we'll write it like this. 13 this will become 13 times 8f, and then this will become 13f, okay? Because our goal is when you cancel stuff out, it will be 1/8 left. So this is the same as that. Now similarly, we will do, this is we'll write down 13 times 8f here. And so the up here, it better be, we'll turn that into an f, 8f. Because if that's 8f, see, it cancels out, so it will become 1/13. And finally, we have this thing over here. It will just be 13 times 8 divided by 13 times 8f. Because then when this cancels out, it will be 1/f. All right, so now our denominators are the same, so we can just ignore it and focus on the numerator. So this becomes 13 plus 8, which is 13 plus 8 is 21. Okay, we'll add the numerators up and just ignore this, like it disappeared. That will be equal to 13 times 8. So then f will be equal to 13 times 8 divided by 21. And that is our answer. And we can type this out in the calculator. Let me see what problem is again. Let's see, 35. Yep, that is the answer. Okay, and we can also multiply, that the book have us multiply it out into a fraction. So that's 21. 13 times 8 is 100. There's some kind of a fourth. 3 times 8, 24. And 1 plus 8 is something like this. Yep, that is correct. Okay, if you don't want to bother with that, just use your calculator, and you can keep the answer in the fraction form. The scientific calculator has the option to do that. But really, even if you keep it in the decimal form, that's fine too. There's no law against decimal forms. But anyway, that is our answer to number 35. So next, let's do problem number 36. No, not 36. What's the next one? 37. All right. Now 37, we have a formula to find m when the points are 4, 7, and the b is 12. Okay. Let's write that down. Okay. Now, so 37, problem 37, we have a point that's 4, 7. That's our point. Remember, this is the value for x, and that's the value for y. Okay. And then b equals to 12. B equals to 12, but what is b? B is something in the previous problem where we have this formula, y equals to mx, let's see, plus b. Okay, so that's our formula, and what are we looking for? We are looking for m. Okay, and then so we're going to plug everything in there like it says. That is, x is 4, y is 7, and b is 12. Let's write that down. Okay, so y is 7 equals m times x is 4, okay, plus b is 12. I'm writing it exactly as is. And at this point, then we will be able to do what this is. Let's push the 12 over to this side, becomes 7 minus 12, being there's a plus over there, and push it over to become negative, and then m, and then there m times 4 will push the 4 down, do the division like this. Okay, and then across the equal sign down to the bottom, and that will be equal to 7 minus 12 is negative 5 divided by 4, and that should be our answer for m. And remember, m from the previous section means slope. What problem is that? 37. And yep, that is correct. But right now, if you don't remember, that is not critical because we're not doing that at the moment. But this is just a problem that's borrowed from the previous section where you calculate the slope of something. Okay? But the formula is already given to you, so everything comes out nicely. So next, let's do problem 39, where it says solve for h. Okay, let's solve for h then. So what is h? Problem 39, okay, we have a equals to this thing. What is it? 1/2 h b1 plus b2. Okay, and then we have to solve for h. What does that mean? That means we want to know what h is. We want h on one side of the equation and toss every single thing else out somewhere else. So we're going to do that. So h is now stuck with a lot of buddies. Okay, we need to kick them all away. So a is still here. Okay, h is here. And there's a division here. Anything that's division, we will move it across the equal sign, move it up like this, okay? So we'll kick it up. So the 2 goes up here. Here's the division line. And then anything that's being multiplied, this whole thing is being multiplied, okay? So we'll kick this entire chunk across the equal sign below. So the B1 minus B1 plus B2 is going to be down here. Remember, anything's being multiplied, you will kick it down, okay? That's called cross multiplying. Anything being multiplied, you will kick it down when you cross the equal sign, and anything that's on the bottom, you will kick it up across the equal sign. So that should be our answer. Now, what does it say? 39. Problem 39, 2a over b1 plus b2. I'm correct. Okay, that is always great. Remember, when a variable has a subscript, that is the whole thing is a variable. Okay, it just happened to have a subscript. The b1 is entirely different from b2 in situations like this. Okay, there are 2 different variables. They can be, you can think of them as x and y. They're usually related, like maybe b1 is the base of one rectangle, a triangle, and b2 is the base of a different triangle, that sort of thing. They're both bases, but they're still bases of 2 entirely different triangles. Okay, so then sometimes we'll name it with so that they are similar, have a similar name, but they're made distinct by the subscripts. But you can just imagine them as x and y if the subscripts, you find the subscripts confusing. But eventually you get used to it. You know, in life you get used to everything when you are forced to look at it long enough. So next, 39. Why am I doing problem 39? That wasn't even part of the homework. Doesn't matter. I'll add that in. You can do it. Next, let's look at problem 41. The dimension of American football field, the length is 200 feet longer than the width, okay? And then the perimeter is 1,040 feet. So find the length and the width. All right, so let's do it like we've done something like this before. Let's call the width W, okay? And then the length would be 200 plus W. 200 plus W. And then together they become the perimeter. That's the distance all the way around, which is 1,040 feet. All right, so 1040. So the whole thing is 1,040 feet, and we're going to have 2 widths, okay? A rectangle has 2 widths and 2 lengths. So we have 2 widths, 2W, plus 2 lengths, 2 times 200 plus W. Okay, I'm running a bit out of space there, but it should be good enough. And then so let's do this, okay? So we have 2 widths plus, there's 2 more widths here, okay? And that would be 4 widths. But let's write it out first and not get ahead of myself. So that's 200. Let's multiply this out. 2 times 200 is 200. Plus 2 times W is another 2W. That is going to be equal to 1040. So together we have 4 W's. And then push the 400 to this side, become a subtraction. 1040 minus 400. 400. And then we have, what do we have? So 10 minus 4 is 6. So we have 640 equals to 4W. And then W then equals to 16. Okay, so W should be 160 feet or something. What are we looking for? We need to look the length and width. So if the width is that right? Let me check. This is problem 41. Width is 160 feet. Okay, length is correct. So length is 200 plus W. So then the length, I'll call it L, is 200 plus W will be 360. And that is correct, which is also always nice. Okay, so that's problem 41. Next, let's do problem 45, which says the area model of some triangle is base times height over 2, and the area has a height of 16 inches and a base of 11 inches. Find the area. All right. So the area has, the base is base equals to 11, height equals to 16. And what's the area? Area is given is 1/2 base times height. And this you need to memorize. Okay, the area of a triangle should be something that you can remember without them having to tell you. 11 times 16, and that is well, we just calculate this out. That is equals to 176. Okay, divided by 2. And that is equal to 88 or something. Yeah, something like that. Let's check to see if I'm right. 45, yeah, it is correct. And it's 88 what? Inches. 45, yeah, inches, everything's in inches, fine. Let's add the inches in. Some teachers are real picky on the unit. Oh, better get the unit. I never cared, okay? It's like, let's just get the number right. Inches. Anyway, so that is that. 47. Then let's move on to problem 47. The height to the nearest tenth of a triangle with a base of 15 and an area of 215. That's the same problem. However, it says something about the height to the nearest tenth. What does that mean? That the tenth is they're referring to the decimal point, in case you can't remember. For example, let's say we have a decimal number, something like that. This is called the 1. Okay, this position is called the tenth. So you have one decimal position is called the tenth. This position is called the hundredth and thousandth and etc. But anyways, the tenth just means they want you to come up with the answer with one decimal point. But otherwise, we are doing the same thing, I believe. So we have a triangle. We are given base and area. It's not quite the same. So now this time we know what the area is. So the area is 215. Okay, I am following this formula here. The area being 215, and then we'll just keep going. Equals to 1/2. We need to find the height, but we know what the base is. Base is equal to 15 times the height, which I will call h. So then here's our formula, and we need to calculate h. So let's do that. H, now what is in the denominator will go up. Okay, so that becomes 2 times 215. And what is this is the numerator, okay, because there's a 1 down here that we don't write about, but it's there. So there's the division line, and the 15 will go down, okay, across the equal sign. So anything multiplied, 15 is being multiplied, so it will go down. This is being divided, so it goes up. So h equals to this thing, okay? And then what's 215 divided by 15? It's equal to some number that we are going to use the calculator to find out. So let's do that. I have let's see. I will show you this thing. This is just my cell phone. It has an old number there. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to punch this in, okay? And I would like to show you the scientific calculator. Okay, every cell phone has and the computer and iPad and whatnot has a scientific calculator, but this is not showing very well. Can you see it? Okay, kind of, I guess. All right, so then I'm gonna punch this number in. Now I'm not gonna show you here because these numbers are pretty simple. So I'll just type it in and you should be able to do it yourself. If the numbers become more involved and require tricks, then I will show you exactly how to type it in. But for now, let's type in 2 times 215, okay, and then divided. Divided by 15. Okay, so that's what I have. Can you, yeah, see? Can you see that? Is it focusing? It is not there it is. Okay, so so that's the answer I got. And then the 28.67 thing. So we wanted to round up to 1 decimal point, so only keep 1 decimal, okay? Because this answer goes on, so, and therefore we will write down 28. Round up the 6, anything about 5 or more, round up, add 1 to the next position, so we end up being 7, and that's how you round things. And that is the right answer. Okay, that's problem number 47. So we're doing great. And let me see. All right, so next problem is problem 51. Let me put down my phone. Let's look at problem 51. All right, solve for r where, yeah, v equals pi r squared h. Okay, that is problem 51. Okay, let's write down this thing that we're trying to solve for. V equals to pi r squared times h. All right, now you might wonder, what is that? It doesn't matter what that is. It's the volume of a cylinder, but for now we don't really care, okay? Because we only care about digging r out. We need to solve for r. So we need to somehow figure out what r is. So to do that, first let's figure out what r squared is, and then we'll deal with it. Because r squared is being multiplied by various stuff that will push it down the division line across the equal sign. Okay, so let's push that down. So pi goes down here, and h goes down here. So we get that equal to r squared. So the next step is we're going to take the square root of both sides. And so we'll write a giant square root sign, v over pi over h. And then this will be equal to r, and that is our answer. Now sometimes we have worry about negative roots, but not this case. This case, this is just a measurement of some volume, is not negative. Okay, it's the radius of something, and it's not negative, so we'll keep it like this. Yep, that is the correct answer. So that's problem 51. And finally, we have one more problem, 53. Now, problem 53 says the formula of some circumference is 2 pi r. Okay, that's another formula that you need to memorize, the same as the formula of the area of a triangle. The formula of a circumference of a circle is something you have to memorize for algebra. So please do so if you haven't done it already, or at least try to. If you have trouble memorizing formulas, that's okay, but write it down in a sheet of paper that's handy, and so that you can refer to it right away whenever you need it. So anyway, at this point, your book is telling it to you. How nice. C equals to 2 pi r. Now find the circumference where the diameter is 12 inches. So we have a circle whose diameter is 12 inches. What is diameter? Diameter is the entire width of the circle, and radius is going from the center. Okay, so then so let's consider a circle here. Okay, what is wrong with my circle? There, and the circle, so the radius is called r. That's halfway, whereas the diameter is called d, is the whole way. And the diameter is the same no matter how you draw it. That's the quality of a circle. And radius is going from center to the side. Diameter is the whole length. So the diameter is always twice the radius. So we are trying to calculate the circle, the circumference where the diameter equals to 12 inches. So d equals to 12, which means r equals to 6. Okay, half of 12. Right? And therefore, the circumference, which is 2 pi r, equals to 2 pi times 6, which is equal to 12 pi. Now, we could calculate this value out, but for this problem, your book specifically says just keep it in pi. Okay, we don't even have to punch out the calculator, which is good. So that's our answer. And as I check, that turns out to be correct. So this is the last problem, 50 something, 3. Yes, and so that's the end of this section.